The movie starts by showing students from two different high schools fighting. One of the students involved in the fight is Sungin, who is known for being really good at fighting. In this particular fight, he easily defeats his opponent with just one hit. The fight was started by a student named Hee-seek, who enjoys provoking troublemakers from different schools to attack Sungin. Because Hee-seek was upset with Sungin for bullying him and getting on his nerves, Hee-seek then goes on to physically harm Yante, who happens to be Sungin's closest friend. When Sungin hears about this, he decides to get back at Hee-seek for his actions and for daring to harm his best friend. Sungin and Yante have been best friends since they were kids. Even though they go to different high schools now, they're still really close, but they have completely different personalities. Sungin is a tough guy, a bit rebellious, and he doesn't like losing to anyone. On the other hand, Yante is kind-hearted and doesn't like violence at all. Despite their differences, they're always together. One day, when they come home from school, they stumble upon a flyer advertising a free martial arts tournament. The winners of the tournament will win a lot of money as a prize. Sungin is interested in joining, but Yante thinks it's a scam and tells Sungin not to get involved. While they're on their way, Sungin sees Hee-seek walking with a girl. Without thinking, Sungin approaches Hee-seek to get back at him for hurting his best friend. Sungin punches Hee-seek in the face so hard that the lollipop he was holding shatters, and there's blood spitting out. Because Sungin had punched Hee-seek, Hee-seek gets really angry and wants to get back at Sungin. He decides to hire some tough guys to attack Sungin. The story then shifts to Sungin and Yante having a meal together. Even though they are very close friends, their parents also consider them like their own children because they are neighbors. One day, Yante receives a message from his girlfriend asking him to go on a date. Sungin gets jealous and annoyed because he feels like Yante cares more about his girlfriend than him. They argue for a bit, and this makes Sungin angry, so he leaves Yante. While on his date with his girlfriend, Yante starts feeling guilty about disappointing his best friend, Sungin. He decides to end his date quickly and wants to meet Sungin at their usual hangout spot. Meanwhile, Sungin is sitting alone in the park and ignores Yante's calls. Before long, Hee-seek appears and challenges Sungin to a fight at a different location. What Sungin doesn't know is that Hee-seek has hired two tough guys, Yosep and Big Boy, to beat him up. After Sungin defeated Hee-seek's henchmen, Yosep and Big Boy arrived. However, Yosep decided to fight Sungin on his own, and a fierce battle ensued. The fight ended in a draw because Sungin was tough enough to handle someone like Yoseptember. When Yosep was in trouble, Big Boy came to his aid. Together, they beat Sungin until he couldn't defend himself anymore. Meanwhile, Yante had reached the park, but couldn't find Sungin anywhere. He searched around until he stumbled upon an abandoned building. There, Yante saw his best friend being badly beaten by Big Boy. However, he felt too scared to do anything to help Sungin. Not only was Sungin being attacked by thugs, but Hee-seek was also taking revenge by beating him up. Yante could only cry in frustration, blaming himself for being weak and afraid, unable to save his best friend. Even when Sungin called for help, Yante purposefully didn't answer the phone because he was disappointed in himself. Since the fight, Sungin and Yante's friendship has become strained. They hardly spend time together and don't talk anymore. Yante even goes out of his way to avoid Sungin. He doesn't answer Sungin's calls, avoids meeting him, and doesn't even chat with him anymore. Sungin is confused and hurt by Yante's sudden change in behavior. Eventually, they confront each other, and Yante suggests that their friendship is over. He hints at some proof he plans to show Sungin someday. A few days later, Yante goes to a fighter club, whose address he found on the flyer, and challenges a professional fighter there. The club owner, Kim Bung, explains the fight's rules to Yante. If Yante wins, he'll earn a reward, but if he loses, he'll lose all the money he bet, because this fight involves betting. Yante accepts all the conditions and decides to follow the rules as he begins his first fight. Yante was really scared because he had never fought before. When his opponent attacked, he could only dodge and felt like giving up. But then he remembered how Sungin was beaten by Hee-seek and his thugs not long ago, This gave him the strength to get back up and fight with all his might. It didn't take long for Yan-tae to turn things around, knock out his opponent, and win his first fight. After the fight, Kim Bung gave Yan-tae his prize money and congratulated him on his victory. Yan-tae explained that he had come to Kim Bung's club to improve his fighting skills and protect his best friend. Touched by Yan-tae's story, Kim Bung decided to help him. He offered to become Yan-tae's manager and arrange fights with professional fighters. In return, Kim Bung would take a commission fee of 30% as they had agreed before. Over time, Yan-tae keeps getting better at fighting by taking on the opponents that Kim Bung chooses for him. He not only studies how his opponents fight during battles, but also watches videos of his own fights afterward. This helps him improve his skills day by day. Meanwhile, Sungin is growing more frustrated as he's ignored by his best friend. He's angry and blames Hee-seek for ruining his friendship with Yan-tae. Sungin takes out his anger on Hee-seek's associates. However, Hee-seek, because of Sungin's actions, goes to Yan-tae to find out where Sungin is. Even though Yan-tae has become skilled at fighting, he tries to keep it a secret from his schoolmates and acts normal. Since he doesn't have information about Sungin, Hee-seek leaves Yan-tae alone. On another note, Sungin catches a girl named Yan Chong trying to put a love letter in his bag. When Sungin confronts her, Yan Chong claims it's from a teacher who asked her to give it to him. This encounter leads to Sungin and Yan Chong becoming close friends, and they feel comfortable around each other. Meanwhile, Yan-tae is still determined to challenge strong fighters and test his skills. Kim Bung discovers an undefeated fighter who agrees to face Yan-tae with a significant bet placed on the line. Despite the odds, Kim Bung believes in Yan-tae's potential and bets on his victory. When they arrive at the fighting arena, Yan-tae's opponent seems to underestimate him because physically and in appearance, Yan-tae doesn't appear very convincing. Especially in the early minutes of the fight, Yan-tae is overwhelmed by the opponent's incredible abilities and continuous attacks. Kim Bung wanted to stop the fight because he couldn't bear to see Yan-tae continuously getting attacked. But surprisingly, Yan-tae found an opening in his opponent's defense, used his feet to fight back, and turned the tables. Eventually, he managed to defeat the previously undefeated fighter. Kim Bung was really impressed by Yan-tae's strength and determination, and he was happy to earn a substantial commission. Kim Bung suggested that Yan-tae take a break and enjoy the hard-earned money, but Yan-tae declined. Instead, he asked Kim Bung to arrange a group fight, and Kim Bung agreed to be Yan-tae's partner. In summary, Sungin and Yan Chong's relationship was getting closer. One day, as they were about to go to the movies, Sungin received a call from Yan-tae, who wanted to meet up. Sungin was thrilled that his best friend finally wanted to see him and canceled the movie plan with Yan Chong. However, the meeting didn't go as Sungin expected. Yan-tae was still distant and refused Sungin's offer to eat together. Yan-tae simply mentioned that he wanted to prove something to Sungin someday. Sungin felt annoyed and believed that Yan-tae had truly changed. Sungin believes that Yan-tae is intentionally avoiding him because he lost a fight against Hee-seek and the thugs Hee-seek hired. Sungin thinks Yan-tae might be embarrassed to have a friend like him who seems weak and useless. Due to this misunderstanding, Sungin decides to run away and seek revenge on Hee-seek. He hopes that by doing so, he can prove himself to Yan-tae, and they can become friends again. On the other hand, Yan-tae and Kim Bung continue to participate in fights together. Kim Bung has become Yan-tae's partner in group fights. At first, the other fighters doubted Kim Bung's abilities, but he turned out to be quite skilled, and they won several fights, earning double the commission. Meanwhile, Yosep approaches Hee-seek and asks to borrow money from him. However, Hee-seek refuses, stating that he has no income since he's still a student. Yosep left, and suddenly, Sungin appeared with one of Hee-seek's companions. Sungin didn't hesitate and attacked Hee-seek, letting out all his frustration for ruining his friendship with Yan-tae. Because of this attack, Hee-seek called Yosep and offered him money if he agreed to fight Sungin on his behalf. The next day at school, Hee-seek wanted to take out his frustration by confronting Yan-tae. However, one of his friends informed him that Sungin was no longer in contact with Yan-tae. So Hee-seek decided to find Sung-in's current close friend, who happened to be Yan Chong. When Sung-in learned that Hee-seek had harmed Yan Chong, he became furious and immediately arranged a date and place to have another fight with Hee-seek. The day of the meeting came. As usual, Hee-seek brought along his friends and the hired thugs to fight Sung-in. Surprisingly, Sung-in didn't come to fight. Instead, he wanted to apologize to Hee-seek and begged him to stop the feud and threats against his loved ones. Sung-in endured the punches from Hee-seek's friends and seemed helpless. Then, Hee-seek put a lollipop in Sung-in's mouth and hit him in the face until the candy shattered, just like Sung-in had done to him earlier. Not long after, Yan-tae arrived at the scene wearing a mask. Initially, Hee-seek and his friends underestimated Yan-tae. However, Yan-tae quickly defeated them all. After beating Hee-seek and his friends, Yan-tae faced Yo-September thanks to the street fights he had been practicing with Kim-bung. Yan-tae easily handled Yo-sep's attacks and took him down. When Yo-sep was in trouble, Big Boy stepped in to help. Yan-tae and Big Boy had a fierce battle, and they were evenly matched. Kim-bung stepped in to help Yan-tae. Yan-tae faced Yo-sep again, while Kim-bung took on Big Boy. Kim-bung could hold his own against Big Boy because he was experienced in street fighting. However, Yan-tae started to struggle against Yo-September. When Kim-bung attempted to assist Yan-tae against Yo-sep, it weakened his defense, allowing Big Boy to seize the opportunity to knock Kim-bung down and break his arm. Big Boy then defeated Yan-tae. Exhausted and unable to fight back, Yan-tae gave up. Seeing his best friend being beaten, Sung-in tried to get up and save Yan-tae. Sung-in asked Big Boy to stop hurting his best friend. Yan-tae began to cry and apologized to Sung-in for avoiding him. Sung-in finally understood that Yan-tae had been staying away because he wanted to become stronger by training in the Fight Club so he could protect and help Sung-in. This was why Yan-tae had risked his life to become stronger. After this incident, Yan-tae and Sung-in reconciled and became friends again. They promised to support and take care of each other, remaining lifelong friends. So the moral of the story is never break a lollipop in someone's mouth, or you might end up in a dramatic street brawl and discover the true meaning of friendship.